Hey guys, this is Lucre. This is the rules and how to play the game. Started making this game around 6 months ago. It was Christmas time, I had a week off, and I don't like to be bored, so I thought, let's make a game. Started out with a deck of cards. Like many others, they have a deck of cards that looks something like this. It has dark half and a light half, and that's because euchre is a pretty popular game in my house. And the euchre deck always gets used, the dark side, and the other side just gets kind of set off to the side and never gets used. So I chose to make my game with the other half of the deck that never gets used. So we have the cards, which are 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. The euchre deck uses 10 through ace and 5s as counters. Some people use 2s and 3s, but in this case, the deck we're using 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So you start with selecting those cards, and that'll do up to 4 players. If you're going to play with more than 4 players, add another half a deck or another 4 2s, 3s, 4, 6, 7s, and 8s. That way you can have 2 euchre decks and 2 lucre decks. So we have the cards. Now let's talk about the die. So we have 2 dice. One has numbers on it, 2s, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8s, and the other has the suits on it. Clubs, diamonds, hearts, and spades, as well as a little RR for reroll and a T for trump. So those are the 2 die we use, and then we have the board. Let's show the back of the board. All the rules are lasered on the back. If you don't want to flip the board over for a rule, you can just go to the website, weezecarpentry.com, and I'm probably going to have this video as well as the rules on there. So, this is the board. Let's talk about the different squares or rectangles that are here. We have the suits up at the top. You can see it says suits with a line and 3 boxes, as well as the bottom has the numbers and a line. So, there's also a trump and a discard. Let's start with the suits. So, all 3 of these boxes are considered betting locations, as well as the numbers. So, the object of the game is to discard all of your cards. So let's just do a mock-up here. We'll deal out 3 hands, pretend there's 3 players. Even amount of cards to each player. If you're playing with an odd number, I think it's if you're playing with 5, you end up with an odd number of cards, and that card would go face up in the discard pile. So if we had any left over, they would just go face up in the discard pile. So we have 3 players, each with their own hand. Next, we have to determine who goes first. To do that, everybody rolls the die. Highest number goes first. Player 1, roll the 3. Player 2, roll the 3. Player 3, roll the 6. So 6 is highest. So 6 will go first, and then the person on their left would go next. So, player number 3 gets to decide where to place their bets. Like I said, the object is to get rid of all of your cards first. If you do that, you win. In order to get rid of your cards, you have to correctly bet on the outcome of the dice roll. So, if I were to bet a card in the suits category, I would be betting that I'm going to roll a club. If I was to bet a card in the numbers category, I would be betting that I'm going to roll a number 3. You're allowed 3 total bets on the board at any time. So, if I was to have this bet, I would be betting that I'm going to bet a heart, I'm going to roll a heart, a club, or a 3. So, let's give it a whirl. 3 of diamonds. So, I rolled the number 3, so this number 3 gets to come into the discard pile, and I didn't roll a diamond. So these cards here would come back into the player 3's hand. So that would be the end of their turn. Next it would be player 1's turn. So, to add on to those rules, there's a little ×1 and a little ×4. That means that any one of these boxes can hold 1 card, and any one of the numbers boxes can hold 4 cards. So if I were to have a pair in my hand, or 3 or 4, I could place them together as one bet. So 2 6s, 1 bet. 2 7s, 1 bet. And why not? 2 2s, 1 bet. Now it's my roll. 3 total bets. 7 of hearts. So, no hearts were bet, so I can't use that one. A 7 was bet, so both of these 7s get to go in the discard pile. And that would be the end of player 1's turn. Now, let's do a turn for player number 2. They have 3 8s, so let's play all 3 8s. And let's do 2 suits, diamonds and clubs. And we'll give it a roll. 8 of diamonds. Okay, so this is a very good roll. So this is what we call an exact roll. Because it's an 8 of diamonds and the exact 8 and diamond is up, so what that means, first you would clear your diamond bet because you also rolled the diamond, and then you would clear your 8 bet, so that's good. But because you rolled an exact roll, 8 of diamonds, and this 8 of diamonds was out here, you get to take these cards and divide them between whomever you choose. So I'm gonna do something like that. So that's a very good roll. Now, just let's use the example again, but instead of that 8 of diamonds being on the outside, say that 8 of diamonds was on the inside, and you rolled, player 2 rolled that roll. So if this roll was rolled in this case, they would play, okay, didn't hit any diamonds, didn't hit any 8s, but I rolled the 8 of diamonds. So because this is on the discard pile, that player would have to pick up that whole stack in the discard pile. But because that 8 of diamonds was out here, he gets to place it in there and then discard those cards to whomever he chooses. And all the bets that he didn't win would go back into his hand. Okay, that may have been confusing, but I swear it's not that tough. So that is the exact roll rule. Now, if you were to roll a re-roll, let's see here. All that means is that you get to roll again. So say in this case, let's say that was your bet. You're betting a club, a 3, and a 2. Say you were to roll a 2 and a re-roll. So your 2s would get to be placed into the discard pile, and then you would get to roll again, but you also are still allowed your 3 bets, so you can place another bet somewhere on the board. So then you would roll again. 8 and a heart. So no hearts, no 8s. These cards would come back to your hand. And you go around clockwise until the cards are gone. The only other rule is the trump rule, which we haven't touched on yet. So the trump rule is kind of a whole other flair to the game where it takes a bit of the luck out of it. If you were to roll a T, like, oh, look at that, I rolled it. So a T and a 4. So say I had a 4 here, a 3 here, and an 8 there, and that was my roll. I didn't get any of my suits, and a 4 in my numbers I didn't get, but I did roll a T. So that means I get to pick up my cards, look at the suits of my cards, and choose one and lay it face down in the trump category. Now, you should be the only one to know what the suit of that card is, because anybody else, such as player 2, he can now look at his cards and place his bets on the board. So, and then he can lay a card face down in attempt to match that suit. So he has a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. If I believe that he has the correct suit, I don't call him out on it. But if I think he's bluffing or he doesn't know what the suit is, I can say cheat or bullshit or whatever you want to say, and then those cards would be exposed. If they match, like they do in this case, the person calling the bluff would be wrong, so I would have to pick up those cards. If those cards didn't match, for instance, if the bottom card was a diamond and the top card was a spade, I would be correct in calling bluff, and they would have to pick up those cards. Hope that wasn't too confusing. Another small note is if you're on your last card, say I was down on my last card and I rolled a trump, you cannot win the game by rolling a trump. You have to, if you roll a trump, it counts as a reroll. So say I was to do this, 8 of diamonds, roll, and I rolled a trump and a 7, I would roll again. Hit my diamond in this case, or an 8 in this case, if I put the 8 over there. And then, like I said, the first person to run out of cards wins, and who plays for seconds? Not first or last, I guess. Dice are stored up here. And yeah, give it a whirl.